Houston announcing a brownout in parts of Manhattan yesterday as the city entered its fourth heat wave in less than 1 month, and electrical demand has been outstripping supply. We are joined right now by North American Power CEO Carrie Breitbart. So I want to start with this, what we're seeing right now with the power grid, not just in Manhattan, but in other parts of the East Coast as well. What can we do to stop this from happening every year when we face extreme temperatures?
Well, you know, there's a lot of challenges to the grid. I mean, in most places we have to remember that it's a fairly rare occurrence, you know, when we have that, you know, that type of event. A lot of times, and this was what happened in Texas, it has to do with sustained temperatures without a lot of rain because the units don't get to cool off in the evening. And there's a lot of pressure on the actual, you know, wires. But there's also generation issues. You know, there's issues of not having enough generation in some areas to handle peak demand. But not in most areas. In most areas, this is, you know, this is an uncommon occurrence.
Unfortunately, though, in populous areas, I mean, this is New York City, where we've had, you know, blackouts in the past in our city's history. Let me ask you about this as well. We're seeing a real, you know, dynamic shift between natural gas and coal. For the first time in April, we found out, thanks to the EIA, that natural gas plants are extolling the same amount of electricity as coal-powered plants. First time in our nation's history. What do you make of that and the shift that we're seeing?
Well, I think it has everything to do with the more efficient ways of getting natural gas out of the ground. You know, fracking. I mean, the supply of natural gas now is growing so dramatically, and the cost relationship between coal and natural gas has come in line so much that, you know, when you add the EPA restrictions on coal, it makes no sense to build, you know, a coal-fired plant. You know, for example, there's 200 natural gas plants on the drawing board. There's 15 coal plants. You know, and this is going to continue.
But the EPA, I mean, but there are challenges, obviously, to the EPA, and we're waiting on another ruling as well. I mean, the emissions that these coal plants are throwing out into the atmosphere, the EPA is on that, so that's another issue. Let me ask you this, though. You know, overall, because you've gotten to kind of the renewable side with your business, how are you finding that you can actually save customers money without stressing the grid?
Well, you know, the industry that I'm in, you know, which is owing to the deregulation of electricity, is actually quite interesting. I spent 25 years as an oil trader and broker, and I don't think in that 25 years I ever did anything to save a consumer a penny. I have to admit it. All of a sudden, I find myself having a second career in an industry that, and it's not getting a lot of press, is saving consumers a fortune on their electric bills.
How do you do that, though?
Because we compete with the utilities, and we compete very effectively on the supply side, and the cost of natural gas has been going down. Natural gas is the peak fuel to produce electricity. So in the deregulated states, and there are 20 of them, there are 55 million consumers, 12 million have switched, and they're saving money. They're saving significant money. Now,
Forbes did call you one of the most promising companies out there, and you have been hiring and creating jobs, absolutely. Where do you think we're going to be in 20 years? Do you think it's going to be nuclear? Think it's going to be nat gas? I mean, kind of give me your crystal ball approach.
Oh, I don't know how good my crystal ball is, but nuclear, boy, it's hard to think it will be nuclear, isn't it? You know, I mean, it takes 20 years to even get permits for a plant. You know, I think that we're going to see tremendous changes in technology, you know, more efficient production of electricity. I don't think this natural gas phenomenon, you know, the abundance of natural gas, the easier way, the greater ability to get out of the ground, none of that's going anywhere anytime soon.
Carrie Breitbart, the CEO of North American Power. Interesting take from you. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome, Cheryl. Thanks.